Normal breath, the mind flowing with the breath. So I've muted all of you. And you don't have to, the first section would be the meditation itself. And it's going to be a more of a demonstration rather than deep meditation, but we'll do around 25 minutes. And then you can put your pictures on for more discussion on some of the key points that we discussed last time. And also, we'll be talking today. So, you can simply take your video off and your sound off. And I think we are almost 6 o'clock. Yes, we are going to start. I'm looking at myself. Give me a couple more seconds. Okay, this is good now. So Vipassana, there are different aspects of Vipassana, and there are different, saliently different techniques within Vipassana. But I'm going to focus on a couple of simple techniques that's normally espoused by Mr. Goenka, and that's the Vipassana technique that's mostly popular. But there are other techniques in the Buddhist communities. They do Vipassana with a lot of things. So Vipassana is a is a technique to dispassionately observe certain things. And it could be an emotion, it could be a sensation, it could be a motion, it could be a thought, it could be a situation. So there are different aspects of Vipassana, though in this one we will take one, the most commonly used technique, which is and you will see what I'll do. So the first stage for the first 4 or 5 minutes we'll do is called Anapana. which is simple observation of the breath, but with a little caveat to that. So when you inhale and exhale, so let's do it for a minute, and then I'll slowly guide you through. Inhale, eyes closed, and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Continue with that for a few more breaths. Deeply inhale and exhale. Mind on the flow in and flow out. Now the switch is here. Simply focus on the sensation of the breath in, around your nostril, near your external nostril, just inside, as the breath goes in and as the breath comes out. Not the heat and cold, not the breath itself, but the sensation of the breath. We will work with sensations only in this whole session, and that is kind of the crux of Vipassana, though it can be applied with other elements of life. Inhale, feel the air coming in, feel that sensation around your nostril, coming out. Let's do this for a few minutes. Start, and I'll tell you when to stop. Inhale, exhale. Only sensation. In and out. The mind might wander away. Softly, very gently bring it in. Feel that sensation around your nostrils. Inhale and exhale. Inhale very softly, very smoothly. Take your time to deep inhale, and take your time to exhale. Rise and fall. Rise and fall. Rise, feel it, and fall. It's almost like a glider moving through the air, up and down, up and down, up and down. But the motion is not important. The heat and cold, not important. Just the sensation. So in your mind, take the layers out. Breath, sensation. And after a while, it's sensation only. Nothing else. Sensation. Don't even think you are breathing. I mean, if the thought comes, fine. That's fine. Just feel it. Often known as the rise and fall. And fall. Close your eyes. There's not much to say. Just do it. Feel it. There, coming in. There, coming out. Keep your spinal cord straight, shoulders relaxed. Like the waves of the ocean, falling on your feet. Just focus on the sensations. Mind wanders away. Simply bring it in. You and your sensation. Nothing else, nothing in between. Now, continue that as we transition to the next phase, which is the Vipassana. So through Anapana, we are getting prepared to observe our sensations throughout. So from the nostrils, we go throughout the body. So it's kind of preparatory stage. In a 10-day long Vipassana course, this Anapana goes on for a long time. And Vipassana is introduced a couple of days later on. So imagine the power of this. We are doing it only for a few minutes. So that's why I said it's a token meditation. And maybe in one of the next sessions, I'll do a full hour long Vipassana. But at least you know what it is. And then we will start scanning our body. So it's a very simple process, but it has, and I'll go to the theory after I finish my meditation. So simply, again, spinal cord is straight, relaxed shoulders. Start from the top. And you can even touch your top of the head. Let your mind play over there. And you pick up the sensation of touch. And then look around that area. What all sensations can you see, or observe, or feel? Just sensations. It could be a scratching, it could be a itching, it could be a flash of a signal going from one part of the brain to the other. It could be a headache. It could be just nothing. Search at the top of the head for any observation, any sensation that you can find. And slowly come down. Temples. Look for it. Only sensations, not thoughts, not emotions, only sensations. Slowly come down. Go subtle. There could be subtle sensations. Like maybe the eye is moving here and there and you have a mild sensation coming out of it. Now start looking at the sensations with absolutely clean slate. No judgment. No love, no hate. If you have a painful sensation somewhere, simply observe. Don't react to it. No hugging, no hating. Simply observe as an observer. Aches, pains, happiness, good, bad. Anything that comes in. Simply look at it in the most dispassionate way. Look at the sensation. See what it is. with no attachment, no hatred, no love. Read it with an open mind. We're trying to reduce the veil of illusion here. Our senses, our five senses, our Gyanendriyas, the senses behind the senses, all these we are trying to take out. With a clean mind, look at something very objectively. And your senses are your senses. But if you find something worth looking at, look at it and let it go. If you feel a happy sensation here, yes, you probably would be happy. But look at the sensation again and say, hey, thank you very much. I'm going to look at you as if I'm looking at a valley from the top of a hill. It's almost like when we go back in time and look at our happy moments of our childhood, say, we almost see it through a glass window. Beautiful moments, but I cannot go back. And then you come back and say, well, thank you very much. It is extremely subtle. It takes years of practice. Go down. Mouth. Maybe there is some sensations there. Most likely. It's one of the most sensitive spots anyways. Maybe there is a taste lingering over there. Sensation of taste. Maybe you had a good lunch or a snack. That taste lingers. Pick that sensation and drop it. Just drop it. As if you're giving away a very expensive toy you had, a watch or a ring, to somebody else. And feel that satisfaction. No hatred, no love. Dispassionate, close yet far away. Slowly scan down to your chin. See if you have anything there. Your larynx, grab your neck area. Maybe you shouted and still there is a little resonance of that. Look at it, let it go. Shoulders. So we are doing a lot of yoga. A lot of it is therapeutic yoga we are doing. Look at your shoulder. Is there a pain there? Stiffness. Pick the sensations. In the calmness of your mind, pick those sensations. Like a highly sensitive antenna, your mind is getting subtle and subtle and subtle. Is there a pain in the neck, in your shoulder? Look at the pain directly. Stand in front of it. And stop thinking it's your pain. It's a pain somewhere else. And you have detached yourself from that pain in this body that you have. It's a sensation. No love, no hate. It's a rise and fall. The sensation rises and the sensation falls. Come down to your heart. Whole chest area. Any sensations there? Maybe your heart is, you can listen. You can listen, or you can feel those palpitations, the love dove of your heart. There are millions of sensations there. Billions actually. Our minds are not sensitive enough to pick them up. Almost like our antennas that point towards the skies. We cannot pick up all the subtle signals, radio waves that are coming from all over the cosmos. The same thing happening here. But if you go deep and silent yourself, the heart is talking to you. Look at it dispassionately. Very, very dispassionately. Heart can be full of hatred, can be full of love. But you are looking at it from a distance. There is a wall. No love, no hate. No attachment, no hatred. No clinging, no going away. It just is there. Now look at your palms. Do you feel the pulsations? Pulsating fingers, and even the palm and the wrist, almost in unison with your heart. If you have the sensitivity, you can pick it up. Simply observe. Without love, without hate, it's hard to do because you really start enjoying this. The moment you enjoy it, you're getting attached. Come out of it. It don't happen today, but be aware of it. It takes lifetimes to do this. Do you feel sensations running through your spinal cord, up and down? Again, take a look at it, as if you are flying and you're watching the whole world below. Slowly come down to your stomach. There's a lot of sounds here, a lot of sensations here, a lot of things happening here. Be sensitive. You'll start observing those. Intestine, small and large, colon, all the organs, pancreas, liver. Going down. Your thighs. Put your palm on your thighs. Observe the touch, the feeling of touch. Be aware that you are liking it. So you love that touch. Detach from that love. Look at it as if it's happening a little far away. On a thing called your body. But it's a little far away from you. Come to your legs, the feet, ankle, calf muscles, all of that area. Maybe your legs are sleeping. You have a little pain here, little stiffness there, little sleepy. It's a lot of sensations. I'm sure you can pick it up. So pick one sensation, one feeling. and let it go. Talk to your sensation. No hatred, no love. No hatred, no love. No hatred, no love. No hatred, no love. Now slowly we'll come out of this meditative session, and then we'll actually have a discussion, debate, interaction. But come out slowly. Take a couple of long deep breaths. Rise and fall. Rise and fall. Rise and fall. Okay. So now you can open up your channels and, well, maybe put your videos on, and then whoever wants to have questions, the discussion today, again, I would give a little theory on this, is what are these sensations? What do they really boil down to? The way I've been through those trainings in the past, then I've talked to people. So what they say is these sensations, everything we do, the bottom line that comes at the end of the rope are these sensations. These are the truths, the moment of truths. And these are actually the expressions of karma from lives after lives after lives. And therefore, if you can dispassionately look at these and detach yourself from these, the likes and dislikes, slowly your ego gets dissolved, and at the moment where you can truly be dispassionate, and we were talking about being dispassionate, it's hard to be dispassionate just like that. At some level or other, you have some connection with that sensation, either you are liking it or disliking it. Even if you are not consciously liking or disliking, unconsciously you are. So it's a long, subtle, deep process that eventually, when that moment happens, that is the Buddha moment. So there is also a story that this technique was actually taught by Buddha, or rather invented by Buddha at a later part of his life. And so in the last few years of his life, he taught this to a lot of his disciples. And eventually that got lost. Only a small sect of Buddhists were carrying it, especially in Burma and a couple of other places. And that Mr. Goenka, S.M. Goenka, brought it back up again. Now, saying that Vipassana type techniques were there in the whole Hindu-Buddhist cosmology for a long time. So similar things are there elsewhere. But this is a very crystallized and distilled methodology of coming to dealing with the expressions of your karma in a dispassionate way, and through the process you dissolve your ego and be part of the triad, the observer, observant, and the process of observation, which is in Shankar and also in yoga, Patanjali talks about it. That gets dissolved, and you are one. And that's the moment of release, liberation, nirvana, moksha, whatever you may call it. So, so I know last time we were talking about different types of meditation. So I would like to ask you guys a question that do you so have you any of you tried Vipassana in the past? And I would like to hear about your experiences if that's appropriate. Let's have a kind of a dialogue now. So who wants to go? I know silence is golden, but let's talk. Last time I had to start calling names, I guess. Talk about any not just Vipassana, any technique that you did and what your we like to share each other's experiences, meditative experiences. That's the whole idea. Ashish ji, are you? Well, say something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, the thing is, whenever we listen, um, when we are hearing something, we often do not listen. Even when we are very actively listening, a lot of times we miss a lot of things, because one is we are colored by our own prejudgments, right? So we want to, psychologically, we want to hear what we like to hear, and therefore there's a natural filtering mechanism that happens. And whether, that, as you said, the observation of thoughts, or even observation of senses, different people would react differently to these different techniques. And eventually detaching yourself from what's happening right in front of you is where your filters are getting lighter and lighter. And there is a, in Vedanta, there is a and I asked a question to one of the swamis here, and he said, I said, what is the ego of a prophet? So he said the ego of a prophet is a watermark on water. So basically, your ego gets so thin. You still have a little ego because you are in your physical form, but the ego gets so thin, it's like a watermark on water, like a water vessel. You have water in a pot, you put a watermark over there, whatever that means. So when you are, because the eye has a lot of rajasic impact, and it also helps you from tamas or rajas to go towards swatik. But the eye also has a issue um, of getting blocked somewhere. So somewhere the block happens. It becomes its own enemy. And that's why, as in the path of spirituality, the I needs to get dissolved at some point, or lessened at some point, so that from a spiritual perspective and from a practical perspective, you also tend to look at things as it is, and not look at things as what you think it should be. And that's the issue with the whole world. We look at things from our frame of references, and therefore our truth is very different. My truth is very different from yours, and vice versa. And that's where the conflict arises, and we get into a lot of issues. But that's a good share. Anybody else like to share some technique? Or last time we talked a lot about TM, and then I think somebody Rajji did a TM session also. I'd like to hear from anybody else what techniques they have followed, or if you have any specific questions on Vipassana. And then I would like to delve on this question of living in the moment. What does that really mean to different people? I mean, we hear this all the time, especially, whether it's our gurus, or especially the new age thinkers. They'll talk about, living in the moment. What does that really mean? And we associate living in the moment with being efficient and being effective and all that good stuff. And there are a whole bunch of management theories. They pick and choose from these techniques and put it in a box and package it, and say great things about it. But what does it really mean? I for sure don't think I live in the moment. I mean, I try sometimes, but I don't think I can do all the time. So any thoughts? Just let's be an open discussion. Let's talk. Ashwini ji, you are the most vocal. तो बोलिए, आप थोड़ा कुछ बोलिए. ट्रांसेंडेंटल मेडिटेशन, और महेश योगी का जो टेक्निक. या Yes. Yeah. So um, again, I really maybe at times I felt, for my personal experience, what the moment is. At times of like, I used to be a TM meditator, then I became a Vipassana meditator. Now I do other techniques. So I personally felt there are moments of where you lose your your girdle, you lose your wherewithal, and be one with the surrounding. But to be at that stage permanently all the time, which our rishis or our great masters probably do, uh, I don't know of it, and I don't know that this being in the moment thing, um, which is effective in a lot of being efficient. See, one of the things which they say is, when you do something, you don't think about anything else, you do that. So if whether you are cooking or walking, like Buddhists or even a lot of Hindu or other groups have, you walk, you think about, you feel the walk, okay, and then you start, say, you cooking, so you do the cooking, don't think about anything else, don't do anything, you eat food mindfully, so this mindfulness also comes in. So e- yes, yes, so yeah, so right, exactly, that's the, but what does that moment mean, in my mind, specifically in terms of meditation, when you go deep in, the moment is a very subtle. Is it a nanosecond or a second or a minute or an hour, or what is it? um, um, I cannot define it in with time. See, my issue is, and I still struggle with this concept of living in the moment, is my moment sometimes could be this much, sometimes this much. So what is that moment? um, I think it as a segment where you are in your deep, uh, almost egoless state, and you are in a very um, in a state where you are, as I said, that the triad Tripati is called Tripati in yoga, is almost dissolved. So you and your surroundings kind of become absorbed. Uh, that to me is the true moment. The other things that we talk about are semi, I feel that they are semi moments to be used in pragmatic ways to become more effective. So if I'm doing, say, a piece of work and I'm really happily focused on this, yes, this is a great focusing attempt, but is it really, I'm in the moment? I mean, it's probably very roughly used in especially in the Western world. In the Eastern world, where most of us grew, this in the moment thing is um, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. Let's have a debate. Let's have a discussion on this. What do you guys think? Anybody else? Yeah, yeah, Well, yeah, but it's a very good example you have given. Driving with your head turned back, that could be disastrous, of course. Um, but my counter to that is, when you are driving. So the issue is, when you are driving and you are looking in the front, but are you looking in the front? Are you looking? How far are you looking in the front? Are you looking? Are you just looking, or your mind is elsewhere? So you see what my question. I totally agree with you. Now, from a practical point of view, what you are saying is true. The moment see, very practically, we don't want to be bothered by the past because it's not in our control, and we don't want to. We would like to see in the future, but not daydream about it. It's like that girl with eggs and milk and all that, the story we learned in childhood. um, so the question is, a pragmatic sense of time and space, where we like to limit ourselves so that we are most effective. I think that's how I'm looking at it. So you don't look at, so when you are driving a car, you are not looking at 2 miles away. You are looking at maybe 10 feet away, or 15 feet away, or that range. And then your mind may be thinking a lot of things, but you need to come back, bring it back to focus on, hey, what's happening out there in front of you. It's a great practical example, and I agree with you. I think it's a very, very, very pertinent example. But the question is, um, when all these masters talk about living in the moment, um, and then bring them into, so a lot of these people bring them into, stress management and all that in corporate world. You segment your time, you do this, you focus on this, you clear your mind. um, in my mind, from the standard of meditative standards, and none of that is nearly not living in the moment. It's a living in a chunk of time, which has past and future also, and it makes logical sense to live a effective life. That's how I'm looking at it. But when you are in that meditative state, and at the moment you are really at the moment, your time really disappears. I mean, I don't know how many people have experienced at least a glimmers of meditative experiences. The time and space just simply dissolves. So you really don't have a time. So there is no moment at that time. And that's what I'm trying to draw from anybody who had similar experiences, to kind of see if it's a common experience, or if we have people who can maybe articulate this in a better than what I'm thinking. Yeah. Who is this? Okay. Oh, hi. How are you? Yeah.
It's staying a little bit with the current. Though I agree that the current could be not a moment, but maybe a day or an hour or 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I Yeah, I totally get what you are saying. Yes, I mean that is the so there is a pragmatic moment, living in the moment, and a spiritual living in the moment. That's what I'm trying to kind of.
But spiritual moment can be, at a point where you really feel very happy. I mean, you've gone through whatever way you are meditating,
Uh-huh.
but there will be a place where you really feel very happy. I'm not talking of samadhi and all that higher up things. I'm
Uh-huh.
just talking of a very normal level thing where you feel very nice about things for yourself basically, because I think in meditation it's mainly concentrating on yourself, whichever however way you want. So I feel that happy moment is also one of the practical sense of experiencing the happy, what we call a moment.
Moment of bliss rather
Yeah.
Moment
Happening
of.
like that. Yeah. But as I said, somebody gave the example, and it's very true. Even in cooking, if a small thing like that, if your recipe turns out to be good, you are very happy about it. And many times it doesn't turn out to be good. So, so that can be a very practical thing of moment. But in terms of meditation and in terms of self-realization, a little bit, I think there is a place where you feel very happy that you could, reach there in your own way. I'm really not going towards a very high meditation and how people have achieved that very high level. That's a whole different thing. But this is my thinking on the moment.
Good shares. Anybody else?
Sarmaji,
Yeah.
Namaste.
Who is this?
This is Neelam here.
Hi. Yeah, Neelam.
Sanmeji, I would also say the same. That's the moment when you detach yourself from the past and you have no worries about the future and you're just focused on that immediate goal or whatever you are into. So I could give an example, like I was painting yesterday. I keep doing that, sketching and painting. I generally don't sit for that long at one place because my lower back hurts without the support.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday I could sit for 4-5 hours continuously without that pain troubling me.
Yeah.
It's only when I finished the work I realized that, I had been sitting for that long. So you're totally into that moment, focused on what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you a kind of happiness inside.
Yeah.
So is that what is living in the moment?
Yeah, again, the common man's term of living in the moment is probably what that is, and in your case, so again, I'm not a spiritual master. I'm just struggling to, through this process as like anybody else. I think in your case, and which happens to a lot of people when we love something. So see, another thing in Bhagavad Gita also they talk about, sadharma, swadharma is more important than. So if you do not get anything material out of swadharma, it's better to have that rather than working for $1 million and not like something. So when you are liking something, when it's part of your swadharma, you are already in a state of like our cells. Our cells work tirelessly because obviously some enjoyment or something they get out of it, which is worth billions of dollars to those cells. And therefore the same thing with us when on an overall at a macro level, when we are doing something which we like, our mind gets, so one is you are in the state of karma yoga where you are not thinking about any results or anything. You are happy doing your own thing. That's number one, criteria number one. And then you don't care about the results, of course. That's like the one is the swadharma, two is the looking at results. You don't care about the results, you just go on doing what you are liking. And at that point two things happen. One is, this living in the moment and the dissolution that I'm talking about is also about expansion. See, when you do something which is bigger than yourself, like
Yeah.
like a service or something, you feel good. If you do an act of giving, you feel good because
Right.
you are expanding yourself beyond yourself. And that's
Right.
an inherent swadharma for all living beings, whether it's a dog or the cat or us. That's an inherent swadharma for all living creatures. And therefore, so this expansion and this dissolution are very closely tied together. What you said is, I'm sure there were moments over there in your work over there that you probably had moments of dissolution, moments of you totally absorbed in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a great way of giving one practical example. But again, as I said, that all these are very practical examples of at least near living in the moment,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not mathematically, it's like, I don't know whether how many of you are mathematics, like the limit x tends to zero and something goes towards zero or infinity, something like that. It's a journey rather than end point. That's
Yeah.
how I think it goes like that.
I'll add to that. The Mihai, Csikszentmihalyi, the famous guy who wrote that book on titled Flow.
Uh-huh.
He defines the flow, and he actually brings up the Patanjali to describe that, the yoga. So it's kind of an yoga. You are absolutely right.
Well, see,
That
one of the
flow. And
things,
this is
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that many musicians, and Nilanji was talking about the painting. Many of the artists' creativity, you do find that flow.
Yeah. And even in yoga, I mean, in therapeutic yoga, which a lot of times I've done a little bit here, but when I do one-on-one therapies with people, I like to take people in pain or all those things into that state where it's called Prayatna Saitilla. It's one of the sutras of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, where you actually expand yourself. And then when you expand yourself, you become very relaxed. You are in a very highly parasympathetic tone. Your body is relaxed. Your vagal stimulation is complete. And therefore, you don't even feel any pain. So that's one of the aspects that we... in a sense, all these techniques eventually come to some very common denominators, and that's what is interesting, and that's what I'm trying to find, whether it's yoga or Vedanta or Vipassana or different techniques or bhakti. What does bhakti do? You are absolved in the object of your love, and then you are, Mirabai was absorbed into Lord Krishna's image, and things like that. So it all kind of comes to some central point where you and the object are absorbed. You have a higher purpose, and you lose track of time. that's kind of my bottom line. You lose track of time. You're happy and lose track of time, and however you want to reach that, and that's the whole purpose of this journey, And it's so any last comments from anybody you want to share?
No comments. I have a request, Tanmay.
बोलिए.
आप forgiveness पे कुछ ये कर सकते हैं क्या in your which is connected to the forgiveness is not that simple. It has a lot of layers to it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
पता नहीं आपको ऐसा इसका वो टॉपिक आप कभी बहुत अच्छे टॉपिक्स पे आप people you're trying to open people's mind and sharing. मुझे लगता है ये भी एक अच्छा टॉपिक है if you feel.
Sure, and forgiveness is a core thing, because forgiveness, you cannot forgive somebody because of your ego. You are hurt somebody somewhere, and therefore you keep it. Again, you are living in the past. So it all comes together. So
Yeah.
the way I look at it, we have emotions, right? And there are different types of emotions: Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Like fear is a tamasic emotion. Anger is a rajasic emotion, and calmness is a swatic state. So the emotion, everything has three layers: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Whether it's food, material things, or it emotions or feelings, all of these can be categorized into three categories. And maybe I'll take a class one of these days where I'll talk about
Yeah, because
our
as you
gunas.
said, there kind of layers to it. It's not
Right.
just, you just kind of forget and just forgive and forget. And, it's easy to say, but one has to kind of, go through it or for yourself or whatever methods one is using it to.
Yep.
So, it's easy to say forgive and forget, but in practical sense, so I just suggested because, you're really, today's topic also was very good. So I just thought of suggesting you something.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Any other comments, shares?
This is Mallika. Namaste ji.
Namaste, namaskar.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to do Vipassana course twice.
Fantastic.
So last I didn't attend your last class, but whatever you were telling, I could feel that.
Fantastic.
But one thing, like 2013 and 14, 2 years I attended the Vipassana class.
Mm-hmm.
But I was meditating more than 1.5 years continuously.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, there is no time limit. I couldn't, feel the time. It was going like anything, morning and afternoon, evening, 2 times I used to do.
Mm.
But you know what? I don't know what happened. I stopped the meditating, but that feeling or whatever, it stayed more than 4 years with me. But now also, if I sit for 1 minute, I go to that state.
Mm-hmm. So describe me that state. Describe to me a little bit to all the people here.
I cannot describe that state.
Okay.
I go for nothing in front in me, like no mind, no body, nothing.
Okay. That's
I don't know. I go there, but you know what? I don't, because of my karma, or I don't know what is that. I'm not continuing to sit. I don't know, but even 2 minutes takes me to that state.
You're probably very fortunate.
Now I joined after half an hour. You only like 3 minutes. I was following you,
and then you were
I
gone.
don't know what to say. Then I didn't. I didn't want to. I could not come back. But already you started this one, so I thought, okay, I will come back.
Fantastic. No, so I mean, each this is another thing. Each meditative technique impacts different people in a different way.
Right.
Sometimes, like for example, when I learned TM when I was in my teenager, in my early 70s, and I correlated with it very well. it really clicked with me. It was simple, straightforward. It clicked. Vipassana clicked with me. In those 10 days, just for there are 10 days where you don't have a cell phone, and you
Right.
eat probably only once a day, kind of a breakfast and a lunch, and you don't almost nothing in dinner, a fruit maybe in dinner, and
Right.
you do not look at anybody. You just continuously observe your sensations, and
Yeah.
that's it's the hardest thing to do. And on the third day I almost thought that I'll break this and run out, but
Oh,
then
really?
I stayed back.
Okay.
And from
Okay.
fourth day things got changed, because it is extremely hard for a lot of people. For some people may not be.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
therefore, yeah, go ahead.
Before this Vipassana, I did lots of meditation.
Yeah.
But I joined the different classes. I did lots of things, but it was okay. It is not at that period. Whenever I do meditation, I was okay like that.
Okay.
But at the Vipassana, but for me, maybe from second day I was almost there, because first day it was little bit difficult for me.
Mhm.
Second day, from second day I started. It was really good for me, and when I was in the room, there is a single one, right?
Yeah.
I had this feeling there is one snake, means nag, is in my room, but I was not scared or anything. But I had feeling nag. Second time I went for meditation also, Vipassana also, I felt same feeling.
Oh.
And I asked my teacher why this feeling is come. He said, I don't know, maybe that is because of we have nerves. That's what this, what is that?
Kundalini.
He was comparing.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was comparing with nerves, that one.
Mm.
But I was not satisfied with that answer. But in my mind, when I was doing meditation, I felt like in last janam, I may be a nag, or because of nag, I got some hurt or anything. These two things came in my mind while I was meditating.
Yeah. So to elaborate on your thought, there are a lot of people have visions during that 10 days. They have visions, and frankly I also had visions which I don't very say strongly, but I think it's a vision of past lives. And
Okay.
so I have heard a lot of people saying that they had visions which kind of make sense. They don't make sense in the present context, but kind of make sense. So, and then I talked to one of the instructors over there, the teaching assistants, and he said, yes, when you observe your sensations, you are observing the endpoints of your the karmic reactions that's going on through your lives, and that in the process you can see visions of your past lives. So that's what he told me.
Oh, okay.
So,
and one more thing, this is 1 month back. What happened? I was meditating. Suddenly, I have, means in person I am really, I feel I am very good person. I don't know, but
you
but
are.
I hate, in sometimes I have this, I doubt everyone. That is the thing. I was thinking why I do this one. It is not my nature. Why it is coming up? So suddenly one day I was meditating. I felt like last janam I was a baby Nag.
Mm.
So the people killed me.
Wow.
So then I thought, okay, whoa, maybe that's what I'm doubting everyone in this janam. I was thinking like that, but this is maybe just a thought. We don't know.
Yeah. So let's not. Yeah. So it could be anything. I cannot. I'm not that advanced of a soul to tell you the answer to this, but it is very very interesting. But I have heard the kind of vision that people see. I've heard from a lot of meditators. When I was doing it, I did it a long time back, about 16 years back, the 10-day,
Oh.
and then a lot of my co-patriots, when we came out, and there was some sharing, and they were talking about some of these visions they had, and I have seen it. I've talked to other people also on that. So so it could be, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, I think we are. Yeah, it's interesting. So unless anybody else has anything, I'm gonna try to close it. It's what time is it? 7, or it's 7:20 almost.
Sorry, I took longer.
No, that's,
I took longer.
don't so be sorry. Yeah, anybody else?
Tanmay
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes. Who is this?
Okay, this is Sulekha.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I have the same kind of thing what Punamji was telling, that when she was painting, her mind was totally absorbed in the painting, nothing else there.
Mm-hmm.
It happens with me. I love gardening, I do even cooking. Whatever I'm doing, I'm completely absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
Why I cannot get the same sense when I'm meditating? My mind is not under control. That's why I'm trying to come to your class, so that I can, at one point, I can kind of get totally absorbed in the mind and stop the mind to roam around. Just totally focus on. And I am telling you, when I do something which I like gardening, cooking, whatever, my mind is totally into that.
Yeah.
I'm doing it very happily.
So you are right. I mean, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, the same concept. I hope that, I also go to Vedanta Society, and there we also have this.
Do you want to say what's this?
And one thing they say that practice, more practice you will get there.
Yeah. So a lot of people. That's why we have different types of yoga, different types of paths. Different people have different spiritual genetics, and therefore we need to be aware of that. So for some people meditation works pretty good. Some people just doing their daily chore, they're in a meditative state in certain things they love so much, or their body is tuned to that. There is no single path, and while meditation techniques help with the process and to maybe understand your own inner world, inner feelings, inner interactions, inner thoughts, that it is not the only path. So there are people whom I know who meditate very little, but they are almost kind of like a karma yogi. They're doing their work so diligently and very effectively. So I mean, nothing to be worried about that. You just
I enjoy when I say, as now I can say I am a karma yogi, but not mano yogi.
That's good.
We need one of your meditation class. You talked about Chatak Pakhi.
Chatak Pakhi, right?
And you mentioned about a song within the singing.
Right.
I grew up in Calcutta. So do you remember which song you are talking
about? There is a song. I'm forgetting it right of this moment. I can find out and let you know. Yes.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out.
There is a lok songit also on folk song on that also, Chatok Pakhire. This is a devotional folk song. I'll find out, let you know. I know you sing, so yeah.
Okay,
I want to thank you, Tanmay ji.
Thank you.
Someday I will be expert. I will be
Oh, thank you.
successful in my meditation.
Thank
Okay,
I
then.
just want to thank you, Sanmayji. It was a very, very nice
Yeah. Thank
class
you.
of yours.
It was
And
nice.
thanks for that.
Thanks a
Okay.
lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sanmayji.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. I'm calling it off. We'll have
Yeah.
another session next time. We'll let you know.
Okay.
And by the way,
Do you
next
guys,
next weekend, next Sunday, I'm taking a class, not a meditation class, but a class on science and spirituality, science and consciousness. So if you like to join, please join. It'll be a very interesting class. I'm sure I'll bring in a lot of things which you might know, but there are a lot of different aspects that I have gathered, learned, and I'm actually trying to put a book together on this. I'll share with you guys.
oh wow. Sanmayji, can you please post these things like when you have a class?
Sure. I'll do that. I'll do that.
Can you please post it? We would
Sure.
like, at least I would like to definitely see
Sure.
if I can join.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.